Simplifying life is what we all looking for. And automating tasks is one of the ways to simplify life, to simplify routine kind of work. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to VBA, Visual Basic for Application, a programming language that allows users to automate tasks in Excel. VBA is integrated into Microsoft Office applications including Excel, Word, and Access, but mostly used in Excel. Now, what can VBA do? VBA can create macros. VBA allows users to create macros, which are instructions that automatically perform repetitive tasks. Number two, they can customize applications. VBA allows users to customize applications to meet their specific needs. Number three, they can access Windows APIs. VBA allows users to access Windows APIs. Number four, you can create user defined functions. VBA allows users to create user defined functions. But the question always comes, who can use VBA? Now, VBA can be used by non-programmers. Although it's a programming language, any person can use it provided you understand how it works. VBA is considered one of the easiest coding languages to learn for those who don't have a background in computer science. The question that is left is, how then do I use VBA? Right. So stay tuned as we get deeper into how you can use VBA. First thing first, you have to bring in the main menu, the developer tab, and you take it from there. So stay tuned as we go deeper into our video. Hi guys, and welcome to Accounting with Naomi. In this video today, we'll be working on VBA, Visual Basic for Application, the application of VBA, how to use the developer tab, what to understand from the developer tab for beginners. All right, so stay tuned. Make sure you watch this video until the end. Please watch all the ads. Do not skip any ads. And for more kinds of videos like this, please do join the membership. And stay tuned, like the video, comment on this video, and most importantly, make sure you subscribe. So let's go. There we go. So this is how my Excel spreadsheet is looking like. All right. And then I want to look for macros. Okay. So if I go around here, you can even start here at the top. There's my menu bar, file, home, insert, draw page, formulas, data, review, view, automate, help. As you can see, there's nothing on macros. Even if I go on the ribbons, there is nothing on macros. Nothing on VBA, nothing on macros. So how do I then go about it? How am I supposed to run macros? How am I supposed to do VBA coding? How do I go about it? The very first step that you need to understand is, first of all, we have to bring the developer tab, what we call the developer tab, right? So I'm going to just be here around somewhere there, and then you right click. Right, once you right click, this appears, all right? So it says hide quick access tools or customize ribbon or collapsed ribbon. What I want to do, I want to customize the ribbon. So I'm going to click on customize ribbon. All right, and then my ribbon is there. All my ribbon, as you can see, they are all here. All right, what do I want? I want the developer tab. So I'm going to go to the main tabs. You see here, these are choose commands from popular commands. I don't want this. I want to go to where it says customize the ribbon, main tabs. So I want the main tabs. It's even showing me those tabs that are there. As you can see, home is selected, insert is selected, draw is selected, page, formulas, data, and so forth and so forth. They are selected. All right, then what I want is the developer tab. The developer tab is what gives me access or ability to use macros or VBA, or to apply VBA. All right, so what I do now, I'm going to go and select it. As you can see, I click here, it is selected. You can see now it is selected, and then all I'm going to say is okay. And then now I want you to notice what happens. Pay attention. Now all of a sudden I have a developer tab. If you go here at the top, now I have a developer tab. Remember, this developer tab was not there. So we had to go and customize the ribbon. So in my main menu now, I'm sitting with developer tab, right? So then I can click on it and now check what is under my developer tab. So this is how you learn. That's what I'm saying. Guys, Excel is practical. When you see it, you learn better. All right. So then here underneath here now, I've got my developer tab. And if you can see here, this is my Visual Basic. All right. And then there's my macros. Yay. Finally, there's our macros. And then I can also record macros. I can use relative references. I can also check for macro securities. And there are add-ins and other options. All right. So we're going to look at them now. We're going to pay attention to them one by one. All right. How do I then navigate around my developer tab? All right. We spoke about the VBA. So far, we spoke about the macros as well. Interchangeably, we'll be talking about it. Now, let's get into it. Okay. So the VBA, let's start with this one. This one is referred to as as you can see, it's even written there. When I put my cursor around it, it says this is the Visual Basic Editor. All right. So the Visual Basic Editor is what I use to actually write my macros. So if you can click on it. Okay. So this is how it looks like. All right. That is my Visual Basic Editor. It looks like that. Okay. So at this point in time, I'm really doing this afresh because you can see there's really nothing. So what do? This is the place I use to run my macros, to run the macros or to write my macros, the codings, okay? My VBA codes. This is where I used to do all of that. But don't worry, at this point in time, it may look like, oh, what is this? Like I'm sure you are scared at this point in time. Let me just make the screen bigger. I'm sure at this point in time, you're like, what am I seeing on the screen? Don't worry. All right. It's step by step. Learning is all step by step. So once I'm here, I then click on insert to start. Before I can do anything, I go to insert. All right. And then module. Okay. So notice what happens when you say insert module, you see this opens up. All right. So we need to understand there are 4 windows that we need to understand. Okay. So there are 4 windows that we need to understand. And before we also go to all of that, there are some settings that needs to be put. Okay, we have to put some settings. So we go to tools. Okay, we click on tools. We click on options. All right. The first thing first, you need to make sure that all of these are selected. Okay, as you can see under my editor, everything is selected. Right, that is what you want. All the boxes must be ticked, and all the boxes are ticked. So I'm okay. That's my first settings. If it's not ticked, please make sure you tick them all. Okay. My other setting that I need to do before we go even into the coding, the Visual Basics, another setting I need to do is right. We are going to go to view. We're going to go to view. Okay, what I want to make sure is I want to select edit and I want to select standard. All right, so I go to my toolbars. Please, I want to do this again because I don't want you to lose me. So you go to view, you go to toolbars, and make sure edit and standard is selected. As you can see, standard is selected, but edit is not selected. All right, these are the settings that you do that will enable us to work to navigate around macros and VBAs. All right, so I go to customize. I'm going to click on customize, and then I select my edit. All right, as you can see, it is selected now. Then I'm going to reset. So I click on reset. Are you sure you want to reset changes made to edit? Yes. Okay. So I press OK, and then I can now close. All right. So now I have my edit. It is on. If I go to view, toolbar, now you can see edit is selected and standard is selected. All right. So those are the settings that you do. Very important so that it can help you run macros and understand your VBAs. Okay. So we continue. Now that I'm there, I need to understand here that there are going to be 4 windows. Okay, so I need 4 windows. I can see one of my window is missing. My property window is missing. So I can go to, is it view? Yes, property window. Okay, so I want to insert this. Right, there we go. Actually, it's meant to be a little bit big. I don't know what's happening with my PC here. Okay, it usually sit here. Yeah, I don't know why it's right now. This may look like a technical something. It usually sits on this side. On your laptop, it will sit on this side. It will sit there, right there. Right now, it's closing. I'll just put it on the side, anyways, to explain what I want to explain. Okay, let me close this. Right, I'll just put it here, but on your laptop, it should be here. All right. Then, so what's going to happen here? There are 4 windows, all right? So you have the first window you have, this is called the project window. Okay, so this is where you have the project. This it shows all the workbook currently open in Excel and the modules displayed. Right, so if there's any workbook that is open right now in my Excel, how do I go back to Excel? Please check this out. You see here, just right there, View Microsoft Excel. This ribbon, I click there. I'm back to Excel. So this is showing me the workbook that I'm with, and my worksheet just says sheet 1, right? Okay, so to go back to Visual Basic Editor, I'll click here and I'm back. So that's how you navigate around it. You can go back to Excel, you can come back to VBA, you go back to Excel, you come back to VBA. All right, so this is how it's done. Anyways, let's come here. So this here, this is called the project window, this side here. That's my project window. And in this project window, we have Microsoft, as you can see, Microsoft Excel Objects Sheet 1. This is my worksheet, right? This workbook. There isn't much happening with this. If I had a lot of workbooks, if I had a lot of worksheets, it were all going to pop up here. All right, so this is just telling me what is happening in my Excel. All right, that is my project window. Okay, then this window underneath here that I'm saying is looking somehow in my laptop, right? This window is called the property window. It's even written there, property window. Okay, this is showing me the module I'm working with, the module under my coding window, my code window. This is my code window. This is where I write my code. Okay, the VBA code is written here. The macros are written here. Don't worry, guys. We're going to take it step by step. So at this point in time, you may be like, what are you talking about? Don't worry. Don't worry, step by step. Just have an understanding of what you're seeing here. Just make sure you understand. Make sure you set your PC like we did together. We're setting our PC to allow us to be able to work on macros and VBA. Okay, so where I am now, this window here is the window where I write my codes and my macros, and this one is naming the code window. So the property window, this shows the properties of the selected object. So whatever that is being selected, like here we are on module 1, it's showing me module 1. I can also change the name of this module anytime I want. I can click there and change the name of the module, right? Just for me to recognize if I'm doing a lot of macros, for me to recognize the macro that I'm doing, I can change the names. Okay, so that's how it works. That is your property window. And I also spoke about the code. Okay, so yeah, this is really my PC that is the issue. Anyways, I'll leave it there. All right, then we have here the immediate window. Now, this immediate window is very, very helpful. This one, the one that says immediate. This is very helpful when you begin to write your, let me just bring this down a bit. When you begin to write down your codes, your VBA, your macros, right? When they say VBA code, it's more or less the same thing as saying macros. Okay, so when I write my macros here and I want to test, let's say I'm not sure of the code I'm writing, the VBA code I'm writing, I'm not sure about it. So I can use the immediate window to test it, to test for errors, all right? So I can do it in the immediate window, and then I'll test if it's correct or not. Does it throw an error or not? If I get it right, then I can bring it to the main code, because this is the main code that is going to be written, all right? In here, it's the main code. So I do, here it's like I'm doing, it's like a script book. When you're writing an exam and you have that script paper where you do your calculations aside and whatnot. All right, so it's more like that. So that's what the immediate window is all about. Okay. I hope at this stage you at least understand how this works. I hope at this stage you are good to go. So that is your VBA. This is where we write the codes and all of that. We'll come back to it where we're going to practice writing VBA code and macros. Okay, we come back to it. So to go back again, like remember what I explained. To go back to Excel, I'm going to click on the Excel icon here. I'm back on Excel. All right, I'm back on Excel. Then what? I need to understand now macros. Okay, so macros, we have here where we can actually write macros. This is called manual macros. I can create manual macros. All right, so, and a macro is, please take notes, you can just write this down. A macro is a set of instructions or tasks that a user can record and get them repeated automatically once a specific action is carried out. Okay, macro is also popularly known as a self-generating VBA coding tool. I'm going to repeat this. A macro is a set of instructions or tasks that a user can record and get them repeated automatically once a specific action is carried out. All right. Secondly, a macro is also known as a self-generating VBA coding tool. That is why I keep saying VBA code and macros, VBA code and macros, VBA code and macros. All right, so I use them interchangeably because a macro is a self-generating VBA coding tool. Okay, so we can either write the macro manually, or we can do what is called record macro. Now, recording a macro depends on how big this is. Recording a macro will always be ideal because it saves time. So what does it mean? The same way I will record. Remember I told you guys I have a YouTube channel where I do my classes, I do videos to teach people different things in accounting, in Excel, in Pastel, and so forth. All right. So what am I saying? When I sit and I'm recording a class, I'll put in a camera and the camera records, right? I can pause it when I'm done recording and I can replay it whenever I want to replay it. Whenever I want to use it, I can just replay it and watch it. Right, so that's what recording is doing, even here with macros. So recording a macro simply means I am recording what I'm doing, what I am writing on Excel. So I'm recording the action done in Excel, even the formatting, everything that I'm doing, I'm recording. All right, actions done in Excel is being recorded. All right, so therefore, all I need to do is I can stop recording the macro and I can just run it. Okay, and then it will show me, just like we're saying, repeating things. So what I can do is I can record what I did now, which I will need for tomorrow, and I'll need for another day, and I'll need for another day. So when I get to the other days, instead of doing the same thing, I'm just going to run. And it gives me everything, including the formatting, including everything I wrote, everything, and so forth and so forth. So it keeps on doing that, it keeps on doing that, it keeps on doing that. All right, so recording a macro is really very good to use. Then I'm going to explain relative referencing. Now, I don't know if anyways, I'll send you back to my YouTube channel. I covered relative copying and absolute copying. All right, at this point in time, because I've not covered it with you, it may not really be very clear, but you can go and watch it there. Relative, so there are two types of copying. What we do in Excel, we copy. Let me just make an example. I want to make an example. Let's say I've got this number. Okay, I'll just do this. Right, and then I've got, okay, that's fine. So these are my numbers that I have. Let me add one more. So let's say these are my numbers that I have, right? I want to multiply all this by 2. I want to double these numbers, right? So I can say equals 2. I take this number and multiply it by 2. Right. Always start your formulas with the equal sign. Right. So I want to do the same thing with all of them. Instead of me coming back here to write the formula, come back here, write the formula, come back here, there's no need for that. So we do what is called copying. So you see this on this side, there's this, is it a square? I can just drag that square down, all right? And it gives me the formula everywhere. So check what happened here. Okay, check what happened here. So it's changing, right? H3, H4, H5, H6. Where am I checking this? I'm checking this here. You see that? This is where I'm checking my formula. All right. So once I click on it, wherever there's a formula, it appears there by the formula bar. But the formula bar, it appears there. All right. I can also come back again and say I want to add the two together. So I can say equals to this plus this. So 10 plus 20, enter. Okay. I want to do the same with all the data, so I don't have to repeat, so I can just drag this down. All right, this is, I'm still talking about copying. I've not done macros. Please don't misunderstand me. So what happened here? If you check this, let's go back. If I select this, it will show on the formula bar. I want you to pay attention to the formula bar. You see what happened? It was H3 plus I3, all right? If you go to the next one, it's now H4 plus I4. You go to the next one, it's H5 plus I5, and so forth. So it continues to do that. All right, this is referred to as relative. This is relative copying or relative referencing. So that is relative that we're talking about. What does relative do? Let me just go and put some color. What does relative do? Relative is copying in a pattern. Okay, it's copying in a pattern. So it's picking up the pattern and it's copying it. As you can see, I've only copied the pattern of the formula, because when I go here, I will not see H3 and I3 anymore. I now see H4 and I4. And then I now see H5 and I5. And then I see H6 and I6. So it's copied the formula, but it's copied it in a pattern. So that is relative copying. Okay, like I said, guys, you could check out my YouTube video where I covered Excel basics. You will learn it even better because I did more examples there. Then we have what is called absolute. Absolute. Okay, absolute copying or absolute reference. All right. We have that as well. It's another type of copying that we have. Okay. So absolute copying, I want to make something to be consistent, to be fixed. I want to have a data that is fixed. Let me put it here. So let's say I want to multiply these figures that I've gotten, these doubled figures, all right? I want to multiply all of them by VETs. Let's say I want to calculate the VETs percentage. So I'm going to have 15% sitting right there at the top. Okay, so I want to calculate all of them by 15%. Let me just, yeah. All right, absolute reference, what it does, it locks a cell, so it stops something from changing. You know, relative copying will copy in a pattern, but absolute copying will block a cell from changing. I lock the cell, so we use the word lock. All right, what I do is I'm going to say equals to, I take the figure and then I multiply that figure by the 15%. Now, this 15% is the same figure that I want to use everywhere, and I don't want it to change. I don't want this 15% to become 16, to become 17, to become, or I don't want it to change at all. So what I'll do is I'm going to lock this cell. So in absolute referencing, we put a $sign in front of the letter and in front of the number. So I'm going to apply a $sign. Now, once I do that, I press enter. You see, it did the calculation for me. Now check, I can also drag this down to the other figures. It will do the calculation as well. But check what happens. See, the formula is I3, K1, I4, K1, I5, K1, I6, K1. The K remains constant. It remains fixed. All right, so this is basically what we're talking about in Excel, okay? So this is basically how it works. So then, what macros, let's go back to macros. Where's my developer tab? Let me go back to my developer tab. So what macros do is macros use absolute. So it's already, absolute is like the default. When it copies up to, like it closes a fixed reference like that. Copies like that. That is why they then have this button called the use relative reference. Okay, so you can even read on it. They even tell you use relative reference so that macros are recorded with action relative to the initial selected cell. All right, for instance, if you record a macro in cell A1, which moves the cursor to A3 with this option turned on. All right, so then if I want to copy, if I just record and run, it will automatically put absolute copying inside. But if I want it to be copying in a pattern, to copy other items in the pattern, then I also select, before I select record macro, I select relative reference, then record the macro. So it copies in a relative formatting. Okay. So that is what this relative is all about. All right, we're still going to do the random record the macro. Then here, macro security. Let's just go to macro security. If you click on macro security, then this comes up. So it's telling you what this happens is the macro security is there. It's created to prevent damage to your computer, such as erasing files, installing malware, potential malicious code. All right, so you know, internet fraudsters can get access to your laptops, your systems, and so forth when you are running macros, especially if your settings are open for anybody. All right, so they can then get access to your laptop and they can do whatever they want. Okay, so if let's say you have your business system here, they can even get into your account and or steal things from you or whatever the case. So get information that is supposed to be protected. So VBA macros are very dangerous actually to having them on. It's very dangerous to have them on because your laptop is not secured. That is why you have these settings. Okay, so the macro security code, that's the function that it does. Right, so you have 4 functions here. The settings, there are 4 settings. You can either disable your VBA macros without notification, so you just close it. All right, any person who attempts to do macros on your laptop, it will not work. If they attempt to do VBA, it will not work, and there will be no notification. Or second option is you can disable your macros with notification, right? So in case, let's say a file, you're opening a file that has VBA, then they will notify you that it has VBA. Then you can select and say, okay, allow it to run. All right, you can allow it to run. Every time there is a VBA something, you can allow it to run. So that is with notification. Disable VBA macros except digitally signed macros. So here you are disabling, but those that are digitally signed can automatically be run. That's what this option is. And then the last option, this is the very dangerous one. They even mentioned it here. This is where you enable your VBA macros. So if I select the last option here, it means any file that I open on VBA will automatically work. Again, anybody can get access into my laptop. You know, online fraudsters can get access to my laptop and my systems, whatever it is in my laptop. So it's very dangerous. You're even told this is not recommended. It's potentially dangerous code can run. Any dangerous code can run here. All right. So you have to be very careful with this option. Okay. So the option that we would advise you to rather select is to disable VBA macros with notification. The second option. So in other words, if you need to run a macro or whatever the case is, it will then give you a notification that it has been blocked. You allow it or run it or something like give it access to whatever the case is, then you just give it access. All right. In AIN 2601, it's not so much of a big deal, but when you get to AIN 3701, sometimes it can really complicate you if the settings are not done. So with the guys that are in AIN 3701, it would be best for them to enable enable VBA macros at some point, because there'll be some coding that will really requires a lot of the brain needs to work, right? And sometimes it will just give you problems. It just won't run, it just won't work unless if you come here and select enable VBA. Okay, so that is what macro security does. Okay, so we didn't change anything here. Let's come back here. Let's come back to our macros. Okay, so I want to record a macro. So in this class today, we are going to work on recording macros and running macros and how to save as well. All right. Then the next class now we are going to end. After this, the next class we're having, we are now going to close out. We're going to close on macros now to now do how to write code, VBA code, writing VBA code. All right. That we'll do on the next class. So today we're basically focusing on recording. So what happens? Okay, I'll just use these figures that I already have here. I'll use this figure. So what happens? I go to record macros. Now, I'm not doing this manual macro because it's the same thing as using VBA. The same thing I'll write there, I'll write here as well to create a macro, all right? So let me go back to Excel. That is why I'm leaving this out, because when you do VBA in the next class, it's just the same thing. So let's go to recording macro. I want to record a macro. So I click here, record. Then it gives me the name. What name do I want to call this macro? Okay, let's say I want to call it, what did we say? Vets. Okay, vets for the month. Now, you are not allowed to make a space or to put any special character. So if you want to maybe make, you want them to be separate, you use an underscore. Right, so I'll say that, I'll put an underscore, vet amounts. Okay, I'll just say vet amount. Let me not complicate this. All right. Now you can have a shortcut key. You can run a shortcut key. Now you have to be very careful when you put in the shortcut key. All right. This is optional. You can or you cannot. It's up to you. If you decide to have a shortcut key, it's up to you. All right. Sure. So please don't use the normal one that you know, like your control C, control, because whatever you change here will override the shortcuts that are already automatically in your laptop. So if you say control C, that means control C will no longer be for copying. It becomes control C now becomes for running your macro. So be careful. Okay, I'm gonna use very random. Let's say let's control Y. Oh, control Shift Y. No, let me remove that. Let's control 3. Okay, because now for me seeing that shift, it may be that something like that exists. Okay, so control 3, please remember it, everybody. Control 3 is our shortcut name. So where do you want to store this? In this workbook. You don't have to change this, is fine. Then you can put a description. This is vet amount for the month. Amount for the month. All right, so I give it a description, I give it a name, and I give it a shortcut, okay, which is optional. Then I say okay. Okay, they don't want it to be a number, they want it to be a letter. Okay, what letter can I put now? I'm afraid of removing things that are supposed to be already. Let's say, okay, I'll just, let's say T. T, is it not something? Okay, let's just say T. Control T and then, okay. Now, whatever I do right now in Excel, it will be recorded. Okay, now check at the top, check what happens at the top there. You see they say stop recording because it is already recorded. Okay, now whatever I do in Excel will be recorded. So let's just say I want to give this information a heading. Let's say I want to give it a heading. I'm going to write here, even me selecting is recorded. So I'm going to write here vet amounts for the month. So I give it a heading. All right, that's my heading, and I'm going to select this. Let's say I'll put it on. So I'm going to do some, I put it on bold. Let's put it on underline. Let's underline it. Let's say we want to put it on. I'm just trying to make it look interesting. And then maybe change this to white. No, it doesn't work with white. Let's say change this to, okay, let's stick to black. Okay, whatever. It looks good either ways. Right, vet amounts for the month. So I just did that and it has recorded everything that I did. Okay, so we don't want to do a lot of things, not to complicate it as well. What I can also do is, I'm trying not to run a formula. I can use conditional. Let me use, I'll select this. Let me use conditional formatting. All right. Highest cells. Any cell that is greater than, let's say, 7. Okay, 7.5. Okay, so if it's 7.5, greater than 7.5, you make it red with okay. Right. So I did my condition there. So it's looking like that. All right, what I did, I'm just doing, this is just a random something, just to take you through to see. See, I'm out of developer, I went back to home and all of those things. So I go back to my developer tab. Once I'm satisfied, I am done, I have my things done, I'm okay, I'm happy, I go to stop recording. If you don't stop recording, it will continue to record. Now, it's not recording what I'm saying, it's recording what I'm putting on Excel. So it will continue recording if you don't stop it, right? So you have to stop it from recording. And then from there, now there are a lot of options that we can use. The first thing I want you to see before we run, okay? And when I run it, I want to do this on another sheet. I will do this on sheet 2. But before we run, the first thing first, I want us to go to Visual Basics. I want us to go to Visual Basic for application. No, we're good. Okay, let's do this. Let's go back to Excel first. Let's do this. Okay. I go here. There are many, many ways that I can run this. Okay. First thing first, I can go to macros. All right. So my vet, you see, it's already selected. Yeah? So if I have many names, I can select whatever name I want. They all be here as a list. So it's already selected. I can just press run. Okay. And then it gives me what I did. So it did not copy the other information because the data was there before. And I want you to pay attention. The data was there before I recorded. So if I had done this data while recording, see this, if I had written this down while recording, it would have come here. But now it doesn't make any sense to come here because it does not pick the data. It was done before recording. All right, please pay attention to that. So it's copy. This is it. This is it's copying here. All right. I can delete this. Right. Okay, so it's pointless to delete. Let me just do another. It's pointless to delete because it won't remove that. So that was my first option. First option, I go to macro and run it. Second option, I can use the control key. Okay. What did we say it was? Control T, né? So I can press control and T simultaneously. As you can see, it worked. Control and T worked. That is my second option. Another one is I want to see this. Really need this to go back where it is. I don't know why it doesn't want to be there. Okay. All right. You see here, there is also an option for run here. I can also run from here, run macro, or is run. I can also run from here. All right. So if I go there, let me go back to Excel. Let me go back there. It is can also be run from there. There we go. So this is my macro. All right. So like I said, this was my other option. It can also be edit. I can also decide to edit. Now, check what happens when I decide to edit. This is the most important. This is the most important of it. This is the most important of it. What happened? It gave me the code. Remember, this time I did the recording and it gave me the VBA code. So the VBA code that we've been talking about, how to write your VBA code, which you're going to do in the next class. I'm going to teach you how to write down your VBA code. Here, this is the opposite now. It is I record and then Excel automatically writes down for me the code. The VBA code has been written now. All right, so you saw what I did. I went to edit and it appears here. All right, so it shows me everything that has been written. It's started from the topic there. The topic is vet amount, right? Sub vet amount, and then vet amount macro. The name, the description, vet amount for the month, the description that I wrote there, and then of course we had a keyboard shortcut. You see, even if I forgot my shortcut, I can see it by the edit option. You see there, it gives me my shortcut that I did. Control T was my shortcut. All right, and then we have here now it's giving us the details of what we did. So we started off by selecting G1, the range G1. So you see, it says dot select. This is what we did. We just selected G1, and then we went on to the active cell where the formula is, and we wrote the value vet amount for the month. All right. Then we went to range GI to TI, and we selected it. So that is already a code. Selecting it. Then we went on to put the bold. We did the font. I did my fonts to make it bold. There's the selection to underline, and so forth and so forth. The colors, the exterior, the interior, so forth, so forth. All right, we are gonna get it. Of course, you're gonna understand this one much better. I'm just trying to explain to you how
we moved from recording to getting to um the macro. All right, how the macro was. Okay, then let me go back to Excel. Okay, there is another way to run this. There's another way to run this. Please take note. I can also use these controls here. You see these controls, right? We have under inserts, I've got the form controls and I've got active controls. I can also use that. All right, these are just like shortcut keys. I can also use a shortcut key to run my macro. So I need to assign it. Let's say I'm taking the first one, the button. All right, so you select the button, you click on the button, then you come here. You have to actually now use your cursor to actually make it. Assign it. I want to assign this to this Vertamount and okay. All right, so this is my button, okay, and then I can make it bigger or smaller. I can put color. I can do a lot of things I want inside. Then I want to change the name. I want to change this to say Vertamount. Right. Okay. So I can also use this to run the macro. Right. Okay, I think it's the place where I had put it to run my macro. Okay. Let me see if I delete this. I'll go home, remove, and let's say no field, and then let's say delete. Okay, so I've deleted it. Let's see if it's going to run with this. There we go. All right. So if I press, I'm going to do this again. I just want to do this. I'm removing it first, to have no field, and I delete it. So I'm removing it completely there. I've removed it. After I removed it, now I can use this button as my shortcut key to run. Instead of me running via the macro or running via the VBA, all right, I can also run via it. I can also use the shortcut, the control T that I used. Or, so there are four ways. I can either use macros to run, I can use the VBE to run, I can use the shortcut key to run, or I can use the button, right? So I click there, and there we go. Okay, so that is how you run, this is how you record your macros. Okay, I think from there, from where we have come so far, you should have now at least a base understanding of what macros is all about, VBA, and the options that are underneath it. Okay, so do we have any question? Any question? Right. So guys, I'm going to send you guys the link to the Excel, the YouTube link. Please go and watch it. And please, you can even do well by sending it to other students that other people that are doing AI in 2601 that you may be aware of, or in other groups that you may be in. Just send the links, let people know about these things. Most importantly, just encourage them also to subscribe to my channel, which I'll be putting a lot of things, not just AIM, even accounting, even financial accounting. I'll be putting a lot of classes that will really help students out there. All right.
Right, thank you so much for watching this video up until this point. Please, if you find this video useful or helpful, please like this video, share this link with somebody else that may need the particular video, comment on the comment section, and most importantly, subscribe. And also, you can join our membership to become part of our family. All right, more kind of videos like this will be coming up. So stay tuned. See you on the next video. Bye.